Hello YouTube, Ryder the First here, and today I'm back with the second episode of my, more of a part, with the second part of my Witchery mod showcase. In the last part, I went over getting started in Witchery, as well as creating your first puppets. In this episode, I'm going to be going over setting up your first altar, and getting a little bit into circle magic and some other beginning such things. Oh my. Never mind. Okay, so, I meant 0. Let's get started. So, first thing you're going to need is more mutandis, which is kind of a big deal in this mod, so you're probably going to want to make sure you can get lots of mutandis. And look, as we learned last time, it's not terribly expensive, it's just a witch and exhale and a mandrake root. And then you're going to want to start popping it on these. And you'll start glowing through stuff. This is ember moss. I think that's what it's called. So we're going to hang on to that. But that's not what we're looking for. Oh, that's a hawthorn sapling. Hanging on to that too. But also not what we're looking for. A rowan sapling. This is what we're looking for at this moment in time. The rowan sapling is the first thing you need to really get started in this mod. So go ahead and plant that, and you're going to want to let it grow. Quote unquote, let it grow. Let it grow, let it grow. Sorry. And then once it's grown, you're going to chop that sucker down. And then you're going to wait patiently for saplings like a good tree chopper. Unless you're like me and you don't want to wait for saplings. Then you can cheat some in. But no, I don't need more saplings right now. So, once you've got some rowan wood, you're ready to start. You're going to need to make yourself 6 altar blocks. And these things aren't terribly expensive. They're 4 stone bricks, 2 rowan wood, which is why we need the rowan tree, an exhale of the horned one, a breath of the goddess, and a water bottle for 3 of them. So you just need, double this recipe, and that's all you need. And breath of the goddess is what you get from throwing birch saplings into the witch's oven. So, once you've got yourself an altar, you're going to want to choose a place with tons and tons of greenery around, but where there's still room to grow. So let's say, right in here is probably good, which is actually why I chose this kind of area. I think right here is probably the best place. And you're just going to place it down, just like this, and it'll form an altar. Now, once you've got that, you can right-click it, and you can see that it's got a maximum amount of energy, as well as a multiplier and a charge. So, it's going to slowly start charging, drawing from nature around it, until it reaches that cap. And this multiplier is how fast it's going to charge. So, with how little stuff we've got here, it doesn't have a very fast charge speed, and it doesn't have a ton of max charge. However, if we get some various things like, let's place a pumpkin down. So, 842, throw down a pumpkin. That actually didn't change it. I was wrong. Buzz off. I don't even know where you are. But something like a new species of tree. It looks like there aren't really any. There is a birch there. So why don't we just plant a rowan right here then? So it's got 840. Oh, hey, the pumpkin did help. 846. Okay. Throw down a rowan sapling. Already it's up to 850. But if we grow it, it's now capping out at 1070. So that's a big difference. Magic trees like the rowan, the alder, and the hawthorn make big differences in your altar's maximum capacity. And you want a lot of maximum capacity, so you're going to want to be planting everything you can near this. And basically, every single thing you plant makes a difference. Found you! Like literally everything. You can plant your wheat here, and it's going to help increase the amount it can store. However, multiplying it so that it will actually gain more, so upgrading this multiplier, requires special items. And there are a few special items that can be placed on it. I won't go over all of them, but I will go over a couple of the cheaper ones. So the cheapest and easiest one to get, one that you want to get right out of the gate, is actually a torch. You grab yourself a torch, just shift right click it on there, it's already doubling the speed at which it gains energy. Okay? And then the other really, really easy one is actually a skeleton skull. So you take a skull, and you're just going to pop that on there same way. And that's going to double the amount of energy it can store at maximum, as well as increase the multiplier by 1. Now, the torch can actually be upgraded to a candelabra, which has twice the effect of the torch, and that's crafted with 3 torches, 3 iron, and a tombstone, which requires a whiff of magic, which we'll get into here shortly, which isn't terribly expensive, and it doubles the effects of the torch, and the skeleton skull can actually be upgraded to a wither skeleton skull, doubling its effects. And then there is one more upgrade that we can go over right now, and that is the chalice. And actually, let's go with the empty chalice for now. The empty chalice, not terribly expensive, requires another one of those. A tombstone, 4 gold nuggets, and 2 gold ingots. And if we just throw a chalice on there, then that's going to incredibly increase the amount it can store, but it's not going to increase the multiplier. And then, what is the name of that item? Give me just a second, because I cannot remember the name of that item for the life of me. Arthana. If you take an Arthana, which is slightly more expensive, it costs an emerald, and right-click that on there, then it doesn't have any visible effects right off the bat, but while that's on there, the range at which this can provide energy is doubled from 14 to 16 blocks to 30 to 32 blocks. So normally this thing can only output input at a range of 14 to 16 blocks, but with an Arthana it can output at 30 to 32 blocks. It's still inputting at 14 to 16, but now it's outputting at 30 to 32. So that Arthana can make a big difference. So those are the biggest things with the altar. Now that we understand what an altar is and how to get it going, we're going to want to go ahead and craft up a distillery. This is going to be the first machine you craft in this mod. And this requires 2 clay jars, 4 iron ingots, 2 gold, and a tombstone. And now it's time to go over what this is. So to get in a tombstone, you're going to need a whiff of magic, a diamond, and a lava bucket. Now the whiff of magic can be obtained in one of 2 ways. A, you can smelt a rowan sapling in your witch's oven, and that is a 100% drop rate for a whiff of magic. Or you can place a breath of the goddess over a lapis lazuli in a distillery, and that will give you a whiff of magic, a foul fume, a tear of the goddess, and a slime ball. And these tear of the goddesses are going to come in handy, so you're going to get used to this recipe. But because you have to have an attunestone to even craft it, the first thing you're going to need to do is smelt up some rowan saplings, and that's good because it looks like I've got a decent amount right here. So go ahead and just toss those in there, and whenever it wants to start. Oh, duh. Sorry. Oh, one more thing about Ember Moss. Be careful with it. I almost forgot. There we go. Whiff of magic. Now we can craft an attunestone and get a distillery. And I can just cheat one in. Now, a distillery, as well as all of the other machines and everything from this mod, uses an altar for power. So we're just going to want to, toss the distillery down within range of the altar, and then we can start using this. So why don't we go with this distillery recipe that we saw right here for the whiff of magic. So we're going to need a breath of the goddess, and a lapis lazuli. Breath of the goddess, lapis lazuli, and then you also need clay pots, just so that you can actually store what's coming out of this. Then you're going to put the lapis lazuli on the bottom, the breath of the goddess on the top. It'll start drawing power from this thing, and it'll distill it, and it'll be right back once that distills. Okay, this is a couple ticks out from finishing, and as it finishes up, you can see that, bada bing. Now we've got a slime ball, a foul fume, a tear of the goddess, and a whiff of magic. Now, I'm not going to go over any more distiller recipes, but there is in-game documentation. Witchcraft Distilling, and this book can be crafted like so, and that will show you all of the distilling recipes available to you. And there are a bunch of books like that you're going to want to craft them. So you've got collecting fumes, which is going to be over at your witch's oven, distilling, which is your distiller right here, circle magic, which we're actually about to go over, brews and infusions, which we'll go over a little later, herbology, which is going to be all of your flowers and plants and stuff, symbology, which I'm actually not 100% sure of, because that's new, so I'll find out, and Conjuration and Fetishes. Oh boy, that's a fun book. We'll go over that a little later, too. So, anyway, now you've got your whiffs of magic, and you can start really getting into my favorite part of this mod, circle magic. Now, for circle magic, you're going to need golden chalk at the very minimum, which is crafted by throwing a mandrake root, a gold nugget, and a ritual chalk into a witch's cauldron. And to get the ritual chalk, you're going to need 2 gypsum, 6 of that wood ash that you've been getting from, smelting all those saplings, and a tear of the goddess, which is why these are so important. Well, one of the many reasons. One of the many, many reasons. And for the gypsum, you're going to want to distill a foul fume over a quicklime. For a quicklime, you're just going to put wood ash in a crafting bench. So, now that you know how to do all that, you can go ahead and craft up a ritual chalk and a golden chalk. And now you're ready to do some of the most basic rituals. Now, for these, you're going to want a fairly large area. The largest, I believe, is like 15 by 15 blocks. Yeah, 15 by 15 blocks, and the smallest is 7 by 7. So, let's go with one of the smallest recipes you can, and it's going to be a 7 by 7. And that should be, yeah. Okay, so for a 7 by 7, you're going to do 3, 1, 3. Oh, oh. Har, har, har. I forgot I'm in KKK. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 across. And then you're going to toss a golden glyph in the very dead center. And this is the only thing that remains true for every single altar or circle magic recipe. So let's just pop through some of these. And what's a good one to start with? I need a 7 by 7. Rather cheap 7 by 7. 7 by 7 white. There we go. Here we go. Okay. So this one just requires a slime ball, a redstone, and 500 altar power. Pretty cheap. So we just grab a redstone. We're going to toss those in the center, like so. And we're just going to right-click that. It'll eat those, and then it's crafted. And that'll eat up 500 energy from here. And right off the bat, doesn't look like it's doing anything. However, if we summon a zombie, it did not work. It did work. Okay, it just glitched out for a second there. See, he can't leave that circle. No matter what he does, he can't leave that circle of chalk. And, are you okay? And this will work on any hostile mob. Although, obviously, it's a little bit glitchy. But I assure you, they are trapped. And I'm not sure how long that lasts. Lasts indefinitely, but it requires 16 power per second. Now, we're gaining quite a bit more than 16 power per second. So you can't tell that it's draining. But it's draining 16 power per second to keep that active. Hey! He glitched out! The little bugger. Okay. So turning it off, just smacking it again. And that's circle magic. And there are a lot of really cool circle magics, like 89 pages of circle magics, so I'm not even going to try to go over all of them. But now you know roughly how to craft circle magic. And some circle magic requires bigger circles, and some circle magic requires different colors of circles, and some circle magic requires multiple circles. So you're just going to want to follow the book's recipes. Now the chalk is otherware chalk, which is crafted with an ender pearl, a tear of the goddess, a nether wart, and a ritual chalk. And I can't remember what the other chalk is called. An infernal chalk, which is the nether wart, a blaze powder, and a ritual chalk. So that's how you get the other types of chalk. Now there's one more really important, really important circle magic that you're going to be using like crazy. And for that, you're going to need a circle talisman. And that's crafted like so. And these are reusable, so don't worry about the diamond. So you're going to take a circle talisman, and with absolutely any circle, this will work with any circle formation. Just go ahead and toss it in the center, right-click. Did I miss? Oh no, hang on, it requires something else now. Didn't always require something else. I'm just thinking of the really old stuff. That's right, redstone. So you're just going to toss the talisman and a piece of redstone in, and it'll consume them, and it'll lead up the circle. And then you've got this small ritual in white, and you can right-click again to place it. And bam, your circle talisman's empty. That's one of the most useful rites. Rites, period. You can use that on any circle, and as you get more into the game, you'll understand why that's such a big deal. I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm dad. Sorry, I just dad joked myself. Anyway, so that's the basics of circle magic, and there's a ton of circle magic pages to go through. And we're not going to go through basically any of them. I might do an episode where I go through a couple of them just after I finish the thingamabobber itself, but there's a lot of them. These couple rites of infusion right here, these 4 I am going to go over in a later episode, because these are a big deal. But those are the other ones. And maybe if I have some extra time, at some point I'll go through a few of these. Right, so remember that curse of poppet protection? Or that poppet protection poppet? That's to go against this. This will destroy any voodoo poppets protecting the tag-locked being. And this requires a cat familiar, which I suppose I should show off real quick. To get a familiar is actually a rite. It's not a rite, actually. That's a ritual, which we'll have to go over a little later, because I can't go over that just yet. So we won't worry about that just yet. Why don't we go ahead and hop into, hang on. Yes, brews. Okay. So, for a brew, you're going to need a kettle. And this thing is crafted like that. So, you're going to want a kettle, and then you're going to need something to prop it up on. I usually like, for aesthetic purposes, to get a couple of cobblestone walls. And then a couple of cobblestone slabs. And this is my favorite aesthetically. Then you're going to need a piece of netherrack. And a flint and steel. And this will allow you to set... oh, there goes my book. This will allow you to set up a rather comfortable setup. So we're going to go ahead and dig right here. Drop that in there. Going to set that on fire. We're going to place my wall here, slab here, and then we're going to drop my kettle down right there. And actually, yeah, no, that's where we want it. And there we go, that's a kettle. And this should keep the fire from spreading, mostly, I think. But this is how I like to do it aesthetically. Oh no, it's not how I like to do it aesthetically. I knew it looked funny. I actually use this one block further down, because it doesn't look near as funny. See? Like that. And then I bring the cobblestone walls down with it. Yeah. So it's like a fire pit. Anyway! Sorry. Aesthetic things. This is your brewery. And this thing has a guide, just like everything else. And this will show you all of the different brews that are available to you in the game. So, some of these brews can get really expensive, but all of them are really helpful, and some of them are actually required in, circle rituals. So, give me just a second, guys. Alright, guys, sorry about that, just had to check on something. So, the next thing we're going to be getting into, while we've got brewing pulled up, is actually filling this chalice so it's much more powerful. And you know what? On that note, I want to go ahead and upgrade this real quick, because I'm a cheater and nobody can stop me. So we're at 3237 with a times 3 multiplier. 3237 with times 4. Okay, this should be like 6k something with a times 5. Oh, it does not... Oh, that's right, because it's not doubling what's currently there, it's doubling what's there before modifiers. Or doubling what's there before the skull modifier. Okay? Then, upgrading the chalice is actually a little bit more difficult. For that, we're going to need to make a brew called Redstone Soup. This one's kind of an expensive brew to make, and most of them are just drops. Redstone, you can mine. Tongue of Dog is a really rare drop from any wolves or dogs. Belladonna is harvested, Mandrake Root is harvested, and Wool of Bat is a really rare drop harvested from bats. Now, the Drop of Luck is where it gets kind of expensive and difficult. To get a Drop of Luck, you're going to need a Mandrake Root, a Nether Wart, a Tear of the Goddess, a Refined Evil, and a Mutandis Extremis. A Mutandis Extremis is simply a Mutandis and a Nether Wart, and a Refined Evil comes from a Diamond Vapor over a Gas Tier. And getting that diamond vapor comes from distilling a diamond over an oil of vitriol. The oil of vitriol comes from a foul fume over a quicklime. And once you've culminated all of that, you can get your Drop of Luck. Then you're going to throw that all in a kettle, so why don't we grab all these ingredients right here. Let's just grab redstone, Wool of Bat, Tongue of Dog, Mandrake Root, Belladonna, and a Drop of Luck. Then you're going to need some water in your kettle, as well as some power from a nearby altar. You're going to wait for that to boil. Actually, this one doesn't boil, forgive me, I was wrong. Then you're just going to start tossing in ingredients. So, Mandrake Root. It's green now. Tongue of Dog. Still green. Wool of Bat. Now it's brown. Belladonna flower. Ooh, it's getting red. We're getting there. Drop of Luck. And finally, a redstone. And now we've got this white, swirling, beautiful redstone concoction. To fill it, all we need is not a glass bottle. And we're just going to right-click that. And here we have redstone soup. Now we just grab you. You're really tough. Let's get a pickaxe, because it's tougher than I thought. I already have a pickaxe. Okay, there we go. And you're going to craft those together. Oh, maybe not. Uh-oh. That means that this requires some kind of other recipe. Recipe. Oh, it's just shaped. Why would it be shaped? I guess that makes sense. Where did my objects go? Okay. I'm a little disoriented. Okay. Bada bing. Now we've got that. Now we've got a considerably better altar. Still not anywhere near the best it could be. In fact, this is still a really weak altar, as some rituals require like 8,000 plus. But, you know, this is pretty decent for a not too terribly late game altar. So, with all of that said and done, why don't we get into, just real quick, why don't we get into, infusion rites. There are 4 different infusion rites, and these are the 4 that we talked about a little earlier. But these are super, super dangerous, but some of the best things you can do. So there's Ghost of the Light, which is the cheapest, Soul of the World, Spirit of Otherwhere, and Infernal Animus. I'm gonna go over the crafting of Ghost of the Light real quick, and then I'll just cheat in the other 3 to show them off. So, with a Ghost of the Light, you need Ghost of the Light, which is actually a brew you can make. It's kind of an expensive one. See, oops. If we recipe this, requires a redstone soup, a potion of invisibility, a potion of fire resistance, a fire protection poppet, a torch, and a tongue of dog, and that'll give you 2 Ghosts of the Light. Now, you'd think, okay, cool, now I'm ready to start my thingamabobber, my ritual. You're wrong. You definitely don't want to start your ritual yet. So, and I'll show you why. If I just put together my thingamabob here. Oh my. Okay. Oh no, I need my chalk. 3. You know what? No one can stop me. So that's 1, 2, then we need... Okay. Back into game mode 0. Oh. No, hang on. See, this is a confusing process, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there we go. 2. Is it 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no, it's not 3. I'm just stupid. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. First of all, now we've got our 11 by 11 and our 7 by 7 white. So now this is ready to go. But I'll show you why you maybe don't want to do this just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. And you need to stand in the circle while this is happening. Okay? That's why. Instantly killed, you get nothing. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that again. But that's why you definitely don't want to do this as soon as you've got Ghost of the Light. The first thing you want to do is actually get a death protection poppet, and this is the only way to stop this. And taglock taglock kit it to yourself. So let's go down to my bed, which is, since I'm in single player, the only way to get my DNA. Run on up here. Okay. Now we can tag lock this death protection poppet to myself. Now we can safely do this. That'll consume the poppet, and now we're imbued with Ghost of the Light. Now this doesn't seem like it does anything, however it does. What you need to... Oh... There was a creeper. What you need to do to actually use it is get a Witch's Hand, which is a really rare drop from killing your vanilla witches. And then you'll see on the left-hand side over there, we've got a little bar. So, now we can use our Ghost of the Light. So first thing we can do, we can create walkways on nothing. Which is a little weird. I don't remember the controls very well. Oh, that's right. You left-click. So if we want to, say, bridge across this, maybe. I don't remember the controls very well, just to be honest. Oh, that's right. Shift right-click, and it'll create this bridge. Okay? And that bridge will last for a little while. And it'll use up some mana on your right-hand side there. Right-clicking. What does right-clicking do? I believe right-clicking does something to a mob, actually. No? Oh! Left-clicking on a mob will imprison them. Shift right-clicking will create barriers. Meep. Shift right-clicking on an existing walkway will create a wall. That's cool. I like that. Right-clicking, as far as I can tell, doesn't seem to do anything. Unless it's something you gotta do to a mob. No, right-clicking, as far as I can tell, doesn't seem to do anything. So that's that one. And I'll go over the other three. I just gotta go switch the recipe real quick. Okay, guys, real quick. I went and checked the wiki on the Infusion of Light. So, shift right-clicking on the top of a block creates a barrier. Shift right-clicking on the side of a block creates a bridge out that face of the block. Shift right-clicking on a mob will enclose them in a barrier where they're at. Okay? If we wait for that to dissipate, the barriers also work on players. And then left-clicking in melee range will do that. And then finally, if you hold right-click, you'll turn invisible as long as you continue holding right-click. Remember that armor remains visible while you are invisible. Now let me switch infusions real quick. Alright guys, I'm back, and here I have the Soul of the World, which is the infusion of the overworld. And I will show off all of this ones real quick. So, first of all, right-clicking on a nearby enemy mob that's wearing metal armor will disarm them, eventually. Left-clicking them has a ton of knockback. Alright guys, I'm back, and now I'm infused with the spirit of the overworld, which requires one soul of the overworld, which is crafted with all of these in a kettle. Okay, it's a redstone soup, and a potion of regeneration, and a notch apple. Okay, so, let's go over all these. First off, the passive. Let's go heal me real quick. So the passive makes it so, A, whenever you land on dirt or grass, you will not take fall damage, and the block you land on will be destroyed. And the other side of that passive is that if you land on dirt or grass, well, if you land while holding shift, I forgot to hold shift, GG me. If you land while holding shift, you will cause an explosion. Okay? So, that's the passive. Now, the actual abilities. Right-clicking will raise a column of earth. If you right-click on the side of an unobstructed block, it will fire it off, dealing damage to whatever it hits. If you hold right-click and release, it will cause a shockwave, pushing back any mobs, players, or blocks in that area. And the longer you charge it, the farther it'll go. Okay, now let's go over some of what you can do with mobs. So let me just spawn a zombie real quick. Okay, if I summon a zombie, give it an iron sword. This way, zombie. And an iron helmet. He only sometimes picks them up. Last time I did this, he just picked it up right out the gate. That time he just walked around it. Come on, zombie. Well, he's not gonna pick it up. I don't think. So, if you left-click on a mob that's wearing any sort of metal armor, it will send them flying backward, far further than it normally would. Okay, there we go. Left-click him, sends them flying way backward. Oh, apparently it works if they're wearing metal armor or holding a metal item. And if you right-click them within melee range, it will disarm them. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and kill this guy real quick, because he's no longer useful to me. So, now the next thing, let me just toss these on the ground. If you hold shift and right-click, is that not it? That's not it? Let me check the command real quick. That is the command, I was just releasing it too soon. So if you hold shift and right-click, then it will pull all metal objects towards you, as well as pulling an ingot from any ore nearby. And then, if you hold shift and right-click on a block specifically, it will pull 2 ingots from that. And that's the soul of the overworld. Real quick, guys, I wanted to show off another really, really useful spell, or circle right. So if you toss a piece of gypsum, if you toss a piece of gypsum, an arthana, and chalk of any color into a circle, and then right-click it, it'll pop those, and it'll change that circle into it. Okay? An instant change, and then if you do the same thing, one single chalk, turn the innermost ring into purple, but if you do the same thing with 2 chalk, it's going to go ahead and turn the outer ring. And return one of the chalk, apparently. So you can use that just to be lazy. I generally recommend just breaking and rewriting, but you know, you can do that. So, yeah. And alright, so let's look at the Spirit of the Otherwhere. And that one's crafted just like that. Okay. So, Spirit of the Otherwhere, right-click to teleport a short distance. Hold right-click until you hear that. to teleport a further distance. Hold shift and right click until you hear a ping to set a recall point. Shift right click to teleport back to that recall point. Okay. Let's go ahead and set that again. Left click a mob to teleport you and the mob into the sky. This can be done multiple times, but you will take fall damage, so it might be a good idea to teleport back to the earth last second if you can. Okay, and then finally, you can hold shift and left click to take yourself and the mob back to the last recall point. Recalling to a recall point can be done cross dimensions, whether you're alone or with company. Okay, and I'll be right back after I get the Infernal Animus. Guys, so I'm back for arguably the most interesting of the the four. So I'm gonna start by spawning a skeleton, and I'm gonna shift left click him, and he'll be enthralled now. He won't attack me, which is great. So I'll summon another skeleton, enthrall him as well. Summon another skeleton. Summon a spider. Spiders will still attack you in the nighttime, but they'll come to your aid, as you can see. Okay. And they'll have all-out skeleton wars. So you shift right click on a block to order all enthralled mobs to move to that block. You can... Oops, wrong one. You can left click on a mob to have all enthralled mobs attack that mob awkwardly. And if we just set it to daytime. If you... Let me enthrall this guy. Come back here. If you enthrall him, and then shift left click him again, you can sacrifice him to gain his powers. So first of all, if I right click now, it'll use his power of shooting cobwebs. See? Fully functional cobwebs. And secondly, since he's the last sacrifice, I gain access to his passive. And I'm not going to show you guys all of the passives and mobs, because I'm trying to wrap this up. But hey... But there's a lot of them, and not all mobs react the same. For example, ghasts, while you can enthrall them, they will still attack you, and they will not listen to you, period. So enthralling them is only useful for the purpose of sacrificing them, and it has to be done immediately. But there's a lot of really cool effects to be had. You can't enthrall other players, the Ender Dragon, the Wither... Let me pull this up and check the others. Demons, Iron Golems, or Snow Golems. You can't enthrall any of those. Everything else you should be able to enthrall, aside from, like, non-vanilla mobs from other mods, because, you know, unless there's something specifically coded in, that's not going to work. Anyway, this video's running a bit long. It's like almost 40 minutes now, I think, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you leave some comments, let me know what you guys think. If you like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to see more content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.